Number 1, determine the factors which affect the speed of the chemical reaction. In previous part, we talked about one of these factors that is called nature of reactant. Second objective, deduce the effect of concentration on the speed of the chemical reaction. Deduce the effect of temperature on the speed of the chemical reaction. Deduce the effect of catalyst on the speed of the chemical reaction. The first part of this lesson, we make a revision about the first part of lesson 2. We know that any chemical reaction consists of two parts, reactant and produce product. So, the speed of the chemical reaction can be classified according to their speed into four types: very fast, relatively slow, very slow, and too slow. What are the factors in which we can use them to identify the speed of the chemical reaction? We know any chemical reaction has reactant and product. When the concentration of reactant decreases, so the reactants disappear from the chemical reaction and the product appears. So you can know, or you can determine the speed of the chemical reaction by disappearance of reactant and appearance of product according to the graph in front of you. This graph consists of two axes, y-axis and x-axis. And we have two graphs, two curved lines. One of them is red color and the other is blue. Blue represents reactant, while red represents product. At the beginning of the chemical reaction, we know that the concentration of reactant equals 100%. And the concentration of them will decrease until it becomes 0 at the end of the chemical reaction. What will happen after that? The product at the beginning of the chemical reaction, its concentration is 0. After a period of time, what will happen to the concentration of product? Yes, increases to become 100% at the end of the chemical reaction. So we know the meaning of the speed of the chemical reaction in previous part of this lesson. Speed of the chemical reaction can be determined by the change in the concentration of reactant and concentration of product. So, speed of the chemical reaction can be defined by the change in the concentration of product and reactant. We talked about this point in previous part of this lesson. But now we will talk about factors affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction. What are the factors affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction? ايه هي العوامل اللي انا هخلي بيها او chemical reaction changes? We have 4 factors. Number 1, nature of reactants. Number 2, concentration of reactant. Number 3, temperature. Number 4, catalyst and enzyme. In previous part, we talk about factors affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction. And we talk about the first factor, which is called nature of reactant. Nature of reactant can be defined, or any reactant are different in. Number 1, a type of bonds. Number 2, surface area. A type of bonds, we have 2 types, ionic and covalent. So the chemical compound can be classified according to the type of bond into ionic compound and covalent compound, which we talked about them in previous part of this lesson. But now we will talk about the second factor that affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction, which is called concentration of reactant. What is the meaning of concentration? In front of you, you have two flasks. One of them contains amount of liquid and the other contains another amount of liquid. What is the difference between them? They are different in the color. What does this mean? This means that the concentration of the first flask is greater than the concentration of the second flask. Okay? Concentration means the amount of substance that is found in the beaker or the container in front of you. طب how concentration of reactant affects on the speed of the chemical reaction? Be attention with me. You have two pictures in front of you. What is the difference between them? Which picture the collision between people increases? What is the meaning of collision? You can't move in crowded places or in quiet places. You have two pictures. One of them are filled with people and the other has a very few member of peoples. Which of them has the number of collisions greater than the other? The first picture or the second picture? Yes. This picture refers to quiet street. In quiet street, the collision decreases like in the molecules of substances with low concentration. يبقى هنا you have a similarities between quiet street that has few member of people or few number of peoples and the low concentration of reactant. Both of them, the number of collision decreases. The number of collision between peoples in quiet street decreases, and the number of collision in the low concentration reactant decreases. Okay, طيب what about the second picture? Second picture in crowded places. Crowded places are different. Maybe. What about the number of collision in crowded places? Yes. In crowded street, the collision decreases, like in the molecules of substance with high concentration. You have a similarities between crowded places. This means that the concentration of people in crowded places increases as the concentration of molecules in reactant. So, by increasing the concentration of reactant, what will happen? Yes, the number of collision increases and the speed of the chemical reaction increases. In front of you, you have one experiment. The reaction between hydrochloric acid and magnesium. What is the difference between the two pictures? The first contains diluted hydrochloric acid and there is a magnesium ribbon put in it. Second picture has conic hydrochloric acid. Which of them has a great amount of hydrochloric acid? Yes, the concentration of hydrochloric acid in the second flask is greater than the concentration of hydrochloric acid in the first flask. So the amount of hydrogen produced in the chemical reaction between magnesium and the conic hydrochloric acid is greater than the amount of hydrogen produced from reaction between diluted hydrochloric acid and hydrogen. Pay attention to this video. what happens in front of you? You have a reaction between hydrochloric acid and magnesium. What will happen in front of you? Pay attention. When I put a piece of magnesium in hydrochloric acid, there are many bubbles produced from this reaction. This bubbles refers to, yes, producing of hydrogen gas from this chemical reaction. Okay? Type, how can you know this gas is hydrogen? It will burn with pop sound as you see in the video. Okay? You have a chemical reaction between hydrochloric acid and magnesium. What is the effect of concentration? Concentration of reactant in reactant. Yes. The effect of reactant concentration on the speed of the chemical reaction. Magnesium react with hydrochloric acid, form magnesium chloride, and the hydrogen gas evolves. Hydrogen gas can burn with pop sound. Both of them form magnesium chloride, but the amount of hydrogen gas evolved in the reaction between magnesium and the conic or concentrated hydrochloric acid is more than the amount of hydrogen produced from the first reaction between diluted hydrochloric acid and the magnesium in the same time. This means that after, for example, 1 minute, the amount of hydrogen gas produced in this case greater than the amount of hydrogen becomes in the first case. Pay attention with me. In front of you, tubes. One of them contains conic hydrochloric acid. الconic hydrochloric acid اللي هو concentrated. This means that the number of molecules of hydrochloric acid increases. So the reaction of magnesium in high concentrated reaction produce many bubbles of hydrogen gas in a short period of time, while the second reaction between diluted hydrochloric acid and the magnesium produce bubbles of hydrogen, but smaller than the first case in the same time. So the effect of concentration of reactant increase the number of collision and increase the speed of the chemical reaction. Okay? So the speed of the chemical reaction increases when the concentration of reactant increases. By increasing the concentration of reactant, the number of collision increases, so the speed of the chemical reaction increases. A second example. By increasing the number of molecules and the number of collision. يبقى أنا هنا عندي السبب إن ال concentration of hydrochloric acid in the first tube increases, so the number of molecules and the number of collision increases, so the speed of the chemical reaction increases. ده فين في الكونيك hydrochloric acid. طيب تعالوا نشوف السكند factor. يبقى عندنا هنا the factors affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction. Number 1, nature of reactant. Number 2, concentration of reactant. We know that by increasing the concentration of reactant, the number of molecules increases, and the number of collision increases, so the speed of the chemical reaction increases. The third factor, temperature. What about temperature? Temperature affects on the speed of the chemical reaction. How? Yes, as cooking food. Cooking food need amount of heat energy. Heat energy or increasing the temperature increase the cooking of food. You have chemical reaction. Pay attention with me. In front of you, you have a video of the chemical reaction between hot water and cold water. ده hot water، عندي ده هيبقى cold water، وهحط ايه؟ تابلت قرص فوار زي اللي احنا شايفينه اهو. طيب what will happen during this chemical reaction? Yes, pay attention. Which of them is faster than the other? Yes, the reaction in a hot water. Yes. Which of them is faster than the other? The reaction in hot water طبعا is faster than in cold water. Yes. هنا التمبريتشر بتاعتنا كام؟ 80 سيليزيوس ديجري، وهنا التمبريتشر بتاعنا 10. تعالوا نشوف التايم كده. تمام. تايم هنا مختلف. Which of them is faster than the other؟ طبعا in hot water. شوف الرياكشن لاخره، ده لسه واخد بقى دلوقتي اهو اللي هو الكولد ووتر، لسه التايم شغال. تمام، لسه الرياكشن شغال في الكولد ووتر. هنا بيحدد لي التايم اهو عشان يشوف مين فيهم اسرع من التاني. Yes, 2 minutes and 22 seconds. Okay. هنا عندي the speed of the chemical reaction increases when the temperature increases. You have activity in front of you. عندنا hot water and cold water زي ما احنا شايفين. هحط القرص الفوار ده اللي قدامنا وابدا اشوف الرياكشن زي ما احنا شفناه في الفيديو. The speed of the chemical reaction increases when the temperature increases. Which of them is faster reaction? الفيرست or second؟ طبعا الفيرست اللي هو فين؟ في الهوت ووتر. يبقى this increases الهوت ووتر or high temperature increases the number of collisions between molecules. Increases the number of collisions between molecules. So the speed of the chemical reaction increases. But by increasing the temperature, the number of collisions increases, so the speed of the chemical reaction increases. You have three factors until now: nature of reactant, concentration of reactant, temperature. You have one question in front of you. What do you do if you wanted to cook eggs faster? Yes, I will increase the temperature. You increase the temperature so as increase in the chemical reaction that helps in cooking food. تمام؟ طيب, another question. Give reason. Food gets spoiled quickly if not frozen. What does this mean? Can't be used. Food can't be used. Yes. طبعا فين? Outside the fridge. Why? Because of the chemical reaction done by bacteria. Cooling food at low temperature slows down this reaction. You have reaction between bacteria and food. By putting food in fridge, the low temperature decreases the chemical reaction between them. So the food becomes good in the fridge. Yes. بصوا معايا. The fourth factor affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction, which is called catalyst. The catalyst and enzymes. What is the difference between them? The catalyst is a chemical substance which changes the speed of the chemical reaction. Maybe increase the speed or decrease the speed. The catalyst substance which speeds up the chemical reaction without sharing in it or being used up. Without sharing in the chemical reaction or being used up. So catalyst can be used as positive catalyst or negative. What is the difference between positive and negative catalyst? The positive catalyst increase the speed of the chemical reaction, while negative catalyst decrease the speed of the chemical reaction. As what? In front of you, chemical reaction between hydrogen peroxide that decomposed into into water and oxygen. Before knowing the catalyst used in this chemical reaction, we must know what are the properties of catalyst that is used in this chemical reaction. Number one, the catalysts change the speed of the chemical reaction, but don't affect in its beginning or end. In its beginning or its end. يعني هنا أنا متفقة معايا إن الكاتاليست it changes the speed, maybe increase the speed or decrease the speed. Okay, number two. No chemical changes or decreases in the mass happen to the catalyst before or after reaction. This means that the catalyst, by adding a catalyst to the chemical reaction, its mass doesn't change or its properties still as it at the end of the chemical reaction. Number three, they are combined or bonded to reactant but get separated from them quickly to form the result or to form the product at the end of the reaction. Number 4. They decrease the energy needed for the reaction. When I need heat energy, instead of it, we can use catalyst. So, catalyst decrease the energy needed for the reaction. The last one can be added with a few amounts. يبقى a small amount of catalyst is often enough to complete the reaction. يبقى catalysts have many properties. Number 1, they change the speed of the reaction. Number 2, no chemical change or decrease in its mass. Number 3, combined with reactant but get separated to form a product. Number 4, the decreased energy needed for the reaction. Number 5, can be added with any amount or few amount. Example of catalyst: the breaking up of hydrogen peroxide by using a catalyst that is called manganese dioxide. In front of you, you have a picture of hydrogen peroxide. The hydrogen peroxide is called oxygen water. So when I decompose hydrogen peroxide, it will form hydrogen, water and oxygen. So manganese dioxide helps in the increase of hydrogen peroxide breaking up speed. تمام؟ But by adding manganese dioxide to the beaker that contains hydrogen peroxide, what will happen? Oxygen gas and water are formed. So the catalyst increases the speed of the chemical reaction in this case. What about the graphic representation of a catalyst? A catalyst, or by adding a catalyst, what will happen? The reactant concentration decreases and the product increases. Yes, so A will change into B by adding a catalyst. Enzymes. Now we will talk about enzyme. We know that catalyst, chemical substance that changes the speed of the chemical reaction. What about enzymes? Enzymes, chemical substance found in your body or in living organisms' body, but increase the biological operation or biological processes. يبقى substance which speeds up the biological reaction without sharing in it or being used up inside living organisms. طيب. Now we will make an activity about the effect of enzymes on the speed of the chemical reaction. In this experiment, we will know the effect of enzymes in the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide as the effect of catalyst in previous part, which we talked about in previous part. We will start with take the tools in front of you. Now, sweet potato. Why sweet potato? Hydrogen peroxide. In front of you. Yes. Container. Glass cup, piece of sweet potato, hydrogen peroxide. ده التولز اللي قدامي. بصوا معايا. هناخد كب هناخد جلاس كاب وهناخد الهيدروجين بيروكسيد وعندنا a piece of sweet potato. Yes. طيب. What will happen during this chemical reaction when I putting the hydrogen peroxide in glass container and putting the piece of sweet potato? It will form oxygen and water. Oxygen and water. So enzyme increase the speed of the chemical reaction. Increase the speed of the chemical reaction. Again. Yes. The enzymes, we know that they are the chemical substance that it changes the speed of biological operation inside your body. So when we use sweet potato that has a special enzyme make as a catalyst during the chemical reaction and increase the speed of the chemical reaction of hydrogen peroxide to form oxygen and water. Oxygen and water. Enzymes, we know that it is a substance which speeds up the biological reaction without sharing in it or being used up inside living organisms. The difference between catalyst and enzyme, both of them are chemical substance, but one of them is used in the chemical reaction and the other used in biological reaction. Type. We know the effect of enzyme that increase the decomposition of hydrogen peroxide, breaking up speed into oxygen and water. So, when we use a piece of sweet potato in this chemical reaction in front of you to decompose hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen, this reaction becomes faster. Why? Because sweet potato has one type of enzyme that increases the speed of the chemical reaction. Enzyme helps in the increase of hydrogen peroxide breaking up speed. We have one live application on this lesson. يبقى اتفقنا ان احنا عندنا factors affecting on the speed of the chemical reaction. 4 factors: nature of reactant, concentration of reactant, temperature, catalyst or enzymes. And we will talk about one of the live application on the speed of the chemical reaction, which is called catalytic converter. The catalytic converter, as you see in front of you in the picture, consists of what? We will talk about number 1, what? We will talk about its importance and the structure. Importance and structure. What is the importance of catalytic converter? Its importance: treatment of the harmful gases come out from the cars. In the modern car, catalytic converter is used to treat the harmful gases come from the curve. طيب what is the structure of catalytic converter؟ يبقى احنا اتفقنا هنا number 1 catalytic converter. It is a metallic can that is found in the modern car and is used to treat, yes, the harmful gases come from the engine or the car engine. يبقى ده catalytic converter. Its function. What is the function of catalytic converter؟ أولا هو عبارة عن إيه؟ It is a metallic can that exists in most modern cars to treat the harmful gases emitted from the engine and it changes them into harmless gases. طيب what is the structure of the catalytic converter؟ هبدأ أما أتكلم على الستراكشر. الستراكشر زي ما احنا شايفين كده metallic can. طيب in a form of what؟ قال لي in a form of cell of B or P cell، يعني شبه الايه البي سيل. طب البي سيل دي شكلها ايه؟ hexagonal shape. So by increasing the surface area of the cell, yes, the chemical reaction increases. يبقى it is composed of ceramic cell similar to P cell, but they are covered with thin layer of catalytic metal as platinum. يبقى أنا هنا عندي catalytic converter عبارة عن metallic can in a form of P cell to increase the speed of the chemical reaction as it increases the surface area, and covered with a thin layer of catalytic metal as platinum. وطبعا البلاتينيوم as a catalyst برضو increase the speed of the chemical reaction. Some application of sodium bicarbonate in our daily life. Number 1, shining metal is used to return the shiny of some metals. Yes, as putting some boiling water to return the shiny of silver, for example. Shining silver by using a piece of aluminum foil while washing silver resistors, its shine. يبقى أنا هستخدم إيه؟ هستخدم sodium bicarbonate in boiling water to return the luster of some metals. Number 2, using in kitchen. طب أنا هستخدمها إزاي في الكيتشن؟ قال لي some purposes. Number 1, add to the waste basket to, yes, to prevent the bad smell. Number 2, add to legumes in water, قال لي to decrease the bloating of them. The third one, add a small amount of sodium bicarbonate to kitchen sink and to pour on it boiling water, and notice that what happens, the draining of sink is faster. تمام؟ طيب. The last point, in the garden. البيكربونات أو sodium bicarbonate is used in the garden without addition. طبعا أنا هعمل إيه؟ Place sodium bicarbonate without addition in the places من غير إضافات خالص where ants come out. What will happen to the ant? Disappears. Now we have some question in lesson 2. Complete the following sentences. Question number 1. Question number 1. The speed of the chemical reaction is increased due to the increase of temperature. What will happen to the speed of the chemical reaction by increasing the temperature? It will increases or decreases? Yes, increases. Question number 2. Put yes or no in front of the following statement and correct the underlined words. طبعا احنا ما عندناش underlined، احنا بس هنجاوب ونعدل براحتنا. The increase in the concentration of reactant increase the number of collision between molecules, so the speed of the chemical reaction decreases. طبعا this statement wrong. By increasing the concentration, the number of collision increases, so the speed of the chemical reaction increases. يبقى أنا هحط increases برضو. تمام؟ طيب another one. The reaction of ionic compound are slower than coordinate compound. الcoordinate compound اللي هو الcovalent compound. يا ترى الionic compound slower than covalent compound? No. هنا هقول ايه؟ faster. fast. أسرع. faster than coordinate compound. تمام. Question number 2. Give reason. The speed of the chemical reaction increases when the amount of reactant increases. Why? Because by increasing the number of molecules, the speed of the chemical reaction increases. Now, we talk about some concepts, factors affecting on the chemical reaction as concentration of reactant, temperature, catalyst, and enzymes. At the end of this lesson, I say goodbye and good night with you, Ms. Amal Maroof.